Good afternoon and welcome to Live to Be Fit. I'm Zach Shumway alongside Kiley Vacchetto, and we welcome in our guest Elizabeth Schulte, who is a trainer at Gold's Gym in Fairport. Not just any gym, Gold's Gym. And she's also my trainer for the past 8 months. She has taught me so many things about fitness. She values quality over quantity and has a close eye to good form. So we're going to start with a few questions today. Elizabeth, welcome in. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into it.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me. So I have been training full-time with Gold's Gym for about 3 years now. So I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science and fitness management at Augustana University in South Dakota. So I've really just found a passion in living a healthy lifestyle over the last 10 years. And after putting that into practice for a while, I decided that I wanted to pursue helping other people lead the same type of lifestyle. So that's really what's gotten me here, pursuing this full time. Yeah.
Awesome. So in your opinion, what are the top benefits of exercise? Which you consider more beneficial, the physical aspect or the emotional, mental aspect of it, what it does for your mental health?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the person. Honestly, when you talk about mental health, the benefits are almost immediate, and really you can't. I don't know. You have to think of it on an individual level. Some people who really struggle with mental health just really need their exercise to keep them in a great spot. But physically, when we're talking about where, especially America is right now, where heart disease is the leading cause of death right now, and exercise is the cure for heart disease. We really need to be promoting an active lifestyle to actually just keep people alive and keep people walking and moving and, playing with their grandkids. So even though you don't necessarily get those physical benefits right away, it's really is the key to having a happy and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. When I'm 36, so when I was a kid growing up on a nice fall day like today, I'd be out playing football, and now kids are inside staring at their phones and one form of social media or another, or video games and all that stuff. And Kylie, you're 26, right? So
I'm
you were
26.
26. So you can
Mm-hmm.
remember back, 10, 15 years ago in the pre-social media era of what life was like. Kids were outside playing capture the flag, ghost in the graveyard, backyard football, kickball, all that stuff. It's different now. I mean, I know a lot of people are still active. Some of us track our steps, some of us track sleep, all that, but it's just kind of a different approach to physical fitness and activity in general. Things are not the same as they used to be. Would you agree?
I do agree. And also, yeah, so with social media now, and everyone's just on their phones all the time. And it's really the times have shifted, and it's kind of crazy to feel like definitely the obesity factor has gone way up. And just, I think any form of exercise is good overall.
Yeah. So that kind of takes me into our next question here. Elizabeth, would you say that exercise is a form of therapy? Because me personally, I think it's the best therapy of all. It's the best way you can help yourself.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think that exercise is absolutely the best form of therapy. And I see that every day, not just in myself, but in my clients. You will never work out and then regret that workout. You always leave feeling better, even if you didn't necessarily put your all into it. This is just a release mentally and physically. And there really aren't negative health effects that you could get from any other daily activities. So you're always going to be leaving feeling better.
Yeah, I swear by that. You know me, some days I'm getting there in the morning and I'm just rolled out of bed. I'm tired, I'm dragging a little bit, but when I push myself through it, I always feel better afterward without fail. And Kylie, I'm sure the same applies for you as you're preparing for your bodybuilding show in June. You have those off days, right, where you're not feeling it, but then you force yourself to get in the gym and you work hard. And almost always, without fail, you probably feel better after you're done,
Yeah,
right?
so I am getting my bachelor's and I work full time, so that could like our lives do get in the way. But after like even waking up at 5 a.m. every day, you don't want to. But once you do, you don't regret it. And I think everyone should work out.
Yeah, I have to say, I admire your courage to take on the 5 a.m. cardio session. I could not do that
It's
many
not the
years ago.
best.
And when
Must,
you think of therapy too, exercise as a form of therapy, even just thinking about the other aspects of it, so many people work out for the social aspect of it, like the therapy of seeing the same people every day and having some personal relationships. A lot of my clients, I know that every personal trainer could definitely relate to this. Your clients will come in and they will just dump everything, almost like I'm actually
two fingers
a
pointed at this guy.
therapist. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just, it really is a time to release everything that's been pent up, and it's just a time to focus on you.
Yeah. I've joked with you before, Elizabeth, that personal trainers double as therapists or psychologists, whatever you want. But I think you make a great point when you talk about it's kind of like Cheers, right? We go to the gym where everybody knows your name. It's your happy place. You go there, you see your friends, you see the same people every day, and you get to know them, and you know so much about their lives and everything that's going on, the good, the bad, and everything in between. One thing that I love about gym life in general and being at the gym, and this helps when you're with other people, is you set these goals, right? And then you push yourself to the edge and you hit that wall at failure. And then you have to break through that wall. Kylie, I'm sure you know what we're talking about. And my next question is, does that kind of stuff translate to everyday life, right? So if you're saying, all right, I want to bench 300 pounds, and you get there and you fail, and then finally you break through that wall. Now, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone in daily life, is that something that starts in the gym and you can take that to everyday life, whatever activity you're doing, work, school, relationships, friendships, whatever, and you say, you know what, I'm going to hit that wall. I'm going to find that zone where it's not very comfortable. That wall is going to go up and I'm going to bust through it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of mental aspects that will relate to a lot of different parts of your life, whether that's like discipline, actually doing what's good for you, even if you don't feel like doing it, pushing yourself past that limit when you feel like maybe you're done, but you kind of know you might just have a little bit of something left in you. So a lot of those little practices that you're learning in the gym can definitely apply, especially to your mindset outside.
Yeah, that's really a great point. And Kylie, I'm sure as you prepare to go on the stage, right, that level of that discomfort, right, where you're really like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. This hurts. It's just painful. If it's just not just the exercise component of it, but the diet. You sent me pictures of the food you're eating right now. And then like we were talking about a moment ago, the 5 a.m. cardio sessions, that's not easy. That's not always comfortable. But you set that goal and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this regardless of how hard it is. And when that wall goes up and I say, man, I don't know if I can get through it. I don't know if I can get over it. You overcome that hurdle. And then you gain that confidence and you can take that and use it in your life day in, day out, right?
Yeah, and I know like we both complain about school, but at the end of the day, we want to complete it. So that is like, it's just like working out. Like, it's not always ideal and it's not always what we want to do, but it's something that has to get done in order to complete your goals.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The sense of accomplishment, right? So I can give you an example. A few months ago, Elizabeth and I were working out, and I had been doing assisted dips, right? And I didn't think I could do a body weight dip. Like I'm a big guy, all right? And it was going to be so challenging for me. And she said, you know what? Try it. I tried it. And I didn't just get one. I cranked out like 10 of them. And I
Oh,
turned to her
good
and I said,
job.
thank you. I said, oh, it's on now. Okay. Because I was working out with a buddy and we're about at the same strength level. And I said, now that I can do body weight dips, game over. And the gains since then have been pouring on. Even though I was out for a little while, I'm back to where I was, 10, 15 years ago when I was a kid. So that's great. And I try to take that motivation that I got from that, how good I feel about it, and take it to other aspects of my life. And you do the same thing in the gym as you get ready for the show. And can you give us an example of how confidence you have gained in the gym you've been able to take outside of the exercise?
Obviously, the way you look changes a lot, and obviously you can't sustain this forever, but it is like, okay, like pictures are good, like when I take pictures of myself, and like it's not always about the scale, it's how you look. I mean, like it's how you look, and it really comes down to how bad you want it and how dedicated you are. It's what you eat and what you put into it and your workouts, and it's hard, but at the end of the day, it's what I want to do, and it'll be worth it, hopefully.
That's so well said.
I've never personally competed before, but I think when you do get to the point of preparing for a competition, you have to have so much control over not just like your workouts, what you're eating, but like your mental mindset going into this as well, because it's like really every single part of your life right now is contributing towards or against your bodybuilding goals.
Correct, 100%. And I mean, again, obviously, this isn't a sustainable lifestyle. Like, you can't, I mean, people do it, but it, for the, for the goal you want to achieve, it's what you eat and what you do. And like, even time management comes in a big place into this. Like, my meals all have to be eaten by 10:30 p.m. So that all has to get done. And obviously, there's dedication, and if you want it, you got to do it.
Yeah. So, really what it comes down to is what do you value the most? Because your health is really all that you have. So, if you don't have your health, then what other parts of your life are going to be thriving? Really nothing. Like, especially when it comes to a gym, personal training, making a financial investment in your health is always going to be worth it. And if you're not spending the time and the money and the focus on it right now, then you're going to be paying for it in the future when you're paying your medical bills and you're spending time doing things that you didn't think you would be doing because you're not physically able to do what people who have been exercising their whole lives are able to do in their lives. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That's such a great point. I've seen that with family members. My dad is 79 years old, and for years he didn't exercise enough, and he's still sharp as a tack, and his body is still intact. But I wish he would have really embraced physical fitness at a younger age. You know, I'll always have time. I'll do it tomorrow, next month, kind of thing. And I see that with my peers too. I have friends and cousins who are not taking care of themselves, and I say, you know what, you really need to do this, because now is a time when you can, you know, do it and be ready for the future, whatever it throws at you as you age and things happen in life. So yeah, in general, do you think our society places enough of an emphasis on physical activity? You know, or is it the kind of thing where nowadays, like we were talking about earlier, kids are just glued to their cell phones and people are walking around staring at their phones, you know, like tech snack kind of thing? Is it something that needs to change, and how do you change it?
Yeah, it definitely does need to change. Obviously, we're seeing so many people, especially in a post-COVID world, where so many people are working remote now, sitting in a desk all day, just hovered over their laptops. So this is something, and I know even with COVID, people tried to get outside a little bit more and stay a little bit more active. So I'd like to have faith and think that people are starting to understand the importance of staying active. But that being said, with so much technology these days, it's really hard to get away. Where, you know, I don't even go anywhere without my phone. So that being said, it is certainly a problem that is going to be very difficult moving forward.
Yeah, that's so true. And thanks for noting that COVID was so important in this whole context of this conversation. It changed everything, right? COVID, people working at home during the lockdown period. I know I ate a lot of frozen pizza. Okay, I was not taking care of myself the way I should have. and it changed the world, and not for the better, honestly. So we're just going to hit our last question here, the hot button question, topic, issue, whatever you want to call it. So Kiley, I'll let you take the lead on this one. We have it on our outline if you want to refer to that, and the itinerary. It's about plus size models. You can pose that question to Elizabeth.
So yeah, so um so also like what's going on now in like the industry is there's like many Victoria's Secret models, and even in many famous magazines with like people with disabilities, and they even, you know, are still in the fitness industry as fitness influencers, which brings like a whole different perspective to fitness as well. So how do you feel, like what's your take on that?
On like specifically with disabilities or like
Yeah, like how they still contribute to like the fitness world, even though they still are dealing with their own challenges, whether like it's, you know, with, you know, I've seen like Victoria's Secret models, and there's like, you see people with like amputations and like things like that.
Yeah, and that's really important to encourage people both with disabilities and people without disabilities, because there is always a way to make it work. Everyone is able to do something, and especially seeing these strong individuals who overcome challenges and are still living their healthiest, active lifestyles. It's really important to have that representation to show people you can do it. And there's always going to be a lot of barriers, and there are people out there who have bigger barriers than you do, and they're still pursuing their active lifestyles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really that's a great point. And just on that note, Elizabeth, I had a question about plus size models, right? So it's a new big thing you see on Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret. And I feel like, okay, there's kind of some mixed messages, right? They say, oh, this is healthy. There was a magazine cover recently that showed a woman who was quite heavy and said, this is healthy. My question to you is, what do you feel about, you know, Sports Illustrated and Victoria's Secret pushing this on us, where these women, in some cases, and men too, might be overweight, and by traditional medical and health standards, it would be considered unhealthy, right? Like a pre-diabetic, at risk for, you know, heart disease and so forth. When you see someone who is obese with a BMI over 40 kind of thing, and they're on the cover of a magazine that used to be they would have models on it. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think this is a really difficult topic because really the facts are there. If you are obese, then you are not currently in a healthy state. But that being said, we do have to encourage people of all body types to be active and to feel confident enough to exercise. I mean, like in a gym setting, one of the biggest barriers we see is that overweight individuals don't want to go into a gym because they feel like they are judged, or they, you know, don't feel confident enough to even step foot or walk to the back of the gym. So it's an interesting topic where you need to encourage people to have healthy habits, and you also need to understand that um, when we're talking about whether or not you're healthy, we're talking about your current state, but also, are you taking the steps that you need to bring you to that healthier state? And then, especially in the topic of models specifically, if we take a magazine such as Sports Illustrated, even our traditional models are likely not as healthy as they look either. You know, a lot of female models are going to be a below 10% body fat,
Right.
and that simply it comes with risks that are different from being obese, but also not good for your long-term health.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for making that point. And runway models back in the day, thin is in kind of thing, right? They were starving themselves just to go walk on stage. I think that is a really good point, and we need to really think about that in the context of this question as a whole. But the thing is, when you see on Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, right, or whatever, and you see someone who is obese, it looks like they are a diabetic or at least a pre-diabetic. Do you feel that is our culture starting to promote and by extension condone poor health inadvertently? That's the last question of the day for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do think that to a large extent it is condoning that, and we see it so many people just day to day in America who are obese, and a lot of people think that it's acceptable, and it's just not, and it's just the reality of, okay, a mixture of misinformation being spread, and people want to feel good about themselves, and everyone should feel confident. But that being said, we would love to see more people being healthy, and there is just a really fine line between knowing what is best and feeling your best, and we just have so many people living unhealthy lives right now that that justification is really difficult.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add something. You know, when you see someone in the gym like that's overweight, or with, maybe they are an amputee or something, to me, that's like inspiring. Like, I know I'm kind of super lean now, but I've been working for this. But my story wasn't all that. Like, I wasn't super lean. I was not fat, but not super lean.
Yeah.
So, it's good to see people. I think it's so inspiring seeing like different people in the gym that have some kind of disability. It's inspiring. And it should be more looked up upon than frowned upon.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And even from a personal training standpoint, almost all of my clients are, or at least start, overweight. So you really do need to, we really do need to make sure as a fitness environment, as an industry, to be more welcoming to individuals. Because really, there's no way that that change is going to be made if we don't first make sure that we're welcoming everyone to start their fitness journey.
Everyone starts from somewhere.
Yeah, Kylie, great point. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. If we were going to encapsulate 30 seconds of this conversation today into one big thing, that would be the quote from you, because that was really well said. And I can say I started in the same place. Hey, when I started with Elizabeth, my first in-body scan, my body fat was 22%. And last time we did it, it was like 16. So we shaved off 6% right there. And I know that part of my being a guy and still being somewhat young, late 30s, I want to move a lot of weight. And I joked to you the other day, maybe I should bulk back up to 300 pounds so I can try to get my bench up, but that's not healthy. And I need to think about my life moving forward. Is that I'm not going to be a power lifter, right? And if I want to have longevity, I need to take care of myself now in my late 30s and prepare for the time when I'm 75, 80 years old. Kylie, I'm excited to see when you go on stage in June. I'm sure you're going to do awesome. You're putting in the hard work, getting yoked, chiseled granite. So good for you. So I thank both of you very much. This has been a great talk. So for Kiley Vacchetto and Elizabeth Schulte, I am Zach Shumway signing off, and we will see you on the other side.